Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. It's been like an age since we've had any football to talk about. I think it's like one whole week, Thomas. It is officially season 3 of Very Biased Opinions, and just before we jump into anything, I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches our videos, that clicks like. Please continue to click that like button, it helps us out so much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing because that helps us out so much as well. So what we're going to do, as we did last season, we're going to start this season by going through predictions for League 2, League 1, the Championship and the Premier League. And we are starting with League 2. We are going to put timestamps down below, but they're not going to reveal who the clubs are. We're just going to put 24th place, 23rd place, 22nd place. So you can skip along, but we're not, in order to kind of avoid spoilers, we're not going to see which teams are in which position. You have to do that yourself by watching the video, and also stick around to the end because you can learn about a great competition we're running in association with Grandstand Betters, where you can win up to £400 of prizes.
And don't forget, we're an Amazon affiliate as well. So if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, go below in the description, click to the link. A tiny second of time for you, but a bit of money for us that we can pour back into the channel to provide really good quality analysis for football.
And with all the self-promotion out of the way, let's jump into this, Thomas. Let's start with our League 2 predictions, and we're going to start with the team that unfortunately is going to finish in 24th place.
In 24th place, Stevenage. In last season, Stevenage were given one of the most fortuitous reprieves ever seen in sporting history. They stayed up, having collected just 22 points and having scored only 24 goals in 36 games. A combination of Bury's liquidation and Macclefield's combined 17-point deduction meant the relegation battle was decided off the field rather than on it. A replication of the form of the previous campaign would have seen them finish in 12th, behind bottom side Yeovil, who secured more wins in their first 7 games that year than Stevenage did throughout the entire 2019-2020 campaign. Fans hope Alex Ravel, who oversaw the final 2 matches, can inspire an enormous resurgence in his first full season in management. He'll have to do so without Carlisle-bound goalkeeper Paul Farman, the second biggest factor behind Stevenage's fluky escape, whilst hoping that experienced centre-backs Scott Cuthbert and Luke Prosser, who signed from Colchester, can stay injury-free. Although technical left-back Ben Coker could bring League 1 nous when fit, much of Stevenage's squad has a non-league history. It may also have a non-league future. Stevenage, they're ending in 24th.
Number 23.
We're talking about Southend United, and I can do this very quickly. Rarely in football is a man last associated with Weymouth a more appealing option than Sol Campbell, but this is the case for Southend United. Campbell inherited an extremely difficult situation last year, deep-rooted financial issues. Team sheets he was forced to name looked more suitable for youth teams than League 1. It was a dreadful season for Southend, and they rightly went down. The 45-year-old Sol Campbell left the club when they were relegated. He's been replaced by Mark Mosley, who was juggling under-23s at Bournemouth and leading Weymouth to successive promotions. This team does not look like they're going to stay up in any way. They have very few players that you think, yeah, you're a league player. And Mosley may well be a good manager who simply hasn't made a good choice of a club. While the sinking Shrimpers are lagging in so many departments outside the technical area, a second relegation is almost certainly on the cards. Southend United in 23rd.
Yeah, feel sorry for both of those clubs. We do feel there's a lot of off-the-field stuff that's ruining it for those fans, which is one of the things we always say. Too. Yeah. Owners meddling. It's annoying. But anyway, let's see who are the lucky ones that finish in 22nd.
Oldham Athletic, they are a club in crisis. Many Latics fans have got behind supporters group Push the Boundary in order to challenge chairman Abdallah Lemsagam for a lack of timely, transparent communication regarding issues at the club, such as late payment for player wages, the closure of the North Stand, and a high turnover of managers during his tenure. Despite this, Oldham have been able to attract a reasonable caliber of player. Hold-up frontman Danny Rowe signed for an undisclosed fee in January before forming a good strike partnership with the zippy Zach Dearnley on loan from Man United. The latter rejoined permanently. Former United first-teamer Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, I'm sure we all remember him, signed a 1-year contract.
Come on then, give us his stats for the last 10 years.
Bugger off, this isn't a Man United podcast. I'll be on that later. But he could end up being the division's best left-back. With the right replacements for ball winner Mohamed Silla, all-action Christopher Masulu, and wide man Johnny Smith, Oldham could have a top-half squad if all goes to plan. But we don't back that. They enter the closing stages of preparation well short in midfield, and it remains to be seen whether Harry Kewell, that's right, Harry Kewell, can acquire the motivational qualities to ease the ill feeling around Boundary Park. Oldham Athletic, 22nd place.
Yeah, very odd managerial signing that. But anyway, we will move on to 21st place.
It's Morecambe in 21st. Jim Bentley did a great job to keep Morecambe in the EFL for 8 years, and the former defender will always have a place in this club's folklore. But the mid-season change of manager was necessary. Well, Bentley undoubtedly got his players working hard. There's a friendly and jocular element to the culture he created, whereas his new successor, Derek Adams, is stony, demanding, and businesslike. His drive has been a breath of fresh air in West Lancashire. Co-owner Rod Taylor and Graham House must also be praised for backing the squad. They've brought in some good players, Adam Phillips, they've got Ryan Cooney, and intriguing competition from players like Kelvin Meller. 12 players have been released to make room for a bunch of positive additions, but resurgent anchorman Alex Kenyon, late box charger Aaron Wildig, and hold-up frontman Cole Stockton have proved themselves sufficiently valuable under Adams to elude the cull. Progress is likely, just how much will depend on whether the supremely talented Carlos Mendez Gomez can go from being one of the division's most exciting wide players to one of the most productive, but we've got Morecambe in 21st. And now we move to 20th place.
Finally, I get to talk about a side, talk about a breath of fresh air. Let's talk about Harrogate Town, who are playing in the Football League for the first time. So big congratulations to them. They beat Notts County in the National League play-off final. And really, if you look at Harrogate Town, you look at their manager, Daniel Weaver, he is a great story in himself. He's been there since 2009 and has managed over 500 games for Harrogate. And they actually play really good football. They're a side that plays direct, and they like to press sides into making a lot of mistakes as well. So I do expect them to cause a few upsets along the way this season. They've still got their main striker, Jack Muldoon, who scored 14 goals last season. And probably the most recognisable name on their team sheet is John Stead, who people will remember from his time in the Premier League. He was also at Blackburn for quite a few years, and a bit of a journeyman, really. Played for quite a few different clubs. But tough season for Harrogate. It'll be an adjustment period for them playing in the Football League for the first time, and there'll be some tough times, but I think ultimately they'll stay up. 20th place for Harrogate. 19th place.
Scunthorpe United. Scunthorpe chairman Peter Swan has struggled in recent years to find a manager who can lead the club forward but also work within a developmental and recruitment policy that's designed by him and the team around him. He hopes to have found the solution in Neil Cox, a long-term assistant to Neil Ardley at AFC Wimbledon in Notts County, who manages as a number one in the EFL for the first time. 6 signings were made before Cox's appointment was officially confirmed, the most notable of which being Jordan Clark's return as captain. The other 5 were under 25. Experience is lacking for a manager who, if anything like Ardley stylistically, may want a more seasoned squad in a bulkier midfield. Therefore, a return to League One feels a long way off, and we've got Scunthorpe United in 19th. Ian, lead us in to the 18th.
Cambridge United. Extremely streaky they were last season, but it's the first full season in charge for Mark Bonner. The biggest news coming out of Cambridge in the off-season has been that they've signed Wes Houlihan, who is a bit of a coup for them, I must say. Yeah, not playing the Premier League not too long ago, so it'll be really interesting to see how he goes. He should link up really well with their 2 leading goal scorers from last season in Sam Smith and Harvey Nibbs. I do still think they're not a good enough side to kind of get near challenging like the playoffs or anything like that, but considering over the last 2 seasons it's been very much a case of whether they'd stay up, I think they'll welcome a quite comfortable season in the lower half, and that's where we've got them finishing in 18th place.
Leads into 17th place now.
In 17th place, so it's the other promoted side. It is Barrow AFC, back in the Football League after 48 years after they won the conference. It was a bit of a shock for them winning the conference. It upset the odds a little bit, but I do expect them to have a decent season. Again, a bit like Harrogate, they'll struggle a little bit finding their feet, but I think they'll be okay. Unfortunately, their manager Ian Everett did jump to Bolton, so he's going to be managing them, and David Dunn, ex-Blackburn player, played in the Premier League, is going to be coming in to manage them. Scott Quigley is their main marksman. He got 20 goals last season, and very weirdly their other guy who scored a lot of goals, John Rooney, he ended up going to Stockport, which is like a drop down. I don't know what happened there, but again I think they'll be a good side. It'll be a tough transition, but we've got them like lower half to mid-table. 17th place for Barrow.
And with 16th place, who have we got?
We have gone for Crawley Town in 16th place. Thomas, they made a managerial change halfway through last season to bring in John Yems, relatively unknown manager, but he certainly did steady them and get rid of any relegation fears. They only lost 3 times since he took over. He took over pretty much like around the New Year time. It's a very good end to the season for them. They have lost one of their key players in Ollie Palmer. He's gone off to Wimbledon, as is Pashut Kamara going to Plymouth. So they've lost like a lot of their attacking threat, but they do have a bit of a settled back four and like a steady core to the side. So they'll pick up steady points throughout the season. Again, they're not going to be spectacular. It's another lower half finish, but they're not going to have any fears of going down.
15th place.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie!
Oi, oi, oi!
That's right, because you can't talk about Grimsby Town without talking about Ian Holloway. Ian Holloway and Grimsby Town, probably the most unlikely thing to ever happen in 2020. But they were in 21st place when he took over, and he got them up to 15th. Charles Vernham is a loss, but they still have last season's top scorer, who is James Hansen. It's all going to be about Holloway, really. You know he can be a very good manager, a very good motivator, and although they do have quite a limited squad, I think they'll be all right. They'll be fine. 15th place for Grimsby. Tom, time for you to do one. 14th place.
Walsall. One has to go back many years to find the last time Walsall were the right owner and manager simultaneously. But whisper it quietly, because that might have just changed. Walsall-born Lee Pomlett has gained lots of goodwill in his first term as chairman for his transparent approach, while in an equal time frame, Darren Clark has won most supporters over with his passion, honesty, and impressive CV. Clark's troops managed playoff form from early November onwards last year and enter the next with a range of exciting options. Rory Holden, who rejoins from Bristol City, has progressed hugely since being moved to the number 10 role, while Wes McDonald can score delightful solo goals from wide left. The double pivot of honest pro Liam Kinsella and veteran battler Stuart Sinclair leave the Saddlers limited when working without injury-prone defender Dan Guthrie, but that problem could quite possibly be solved by the continued rise of young talent Alfie Bates. A stable defence is intact, with James Clark's strong showings as captain, so a top 7 finish would vindicate that optimism. We don't quite have them there. We think they're going to have a bit of a tougher time than most of the bookies do, so we've got Walsall in 14th place.
Okay, let's lead straight in. 13th place.
13th place is Leyton Orient, or the Leyton as I call them. Marked their EFL return with a 17th
Orient,
place.
he calls them Leyton.
They marked their EFL return with a 17th place finish, and they won the national title the year before. Ross Embleton did a reasonable job as interim head coach in the circumstances, and after a brief experiment with Carl Fletcher lasted only 29 days, the club recommitted to boyhood O's fan Ross Embleton with a 12-month rolling contract. Nigel Travers, head coach and director of football structure, with Embleton taking the former position and Martin Ling the latter, may have dissuaded more experienced managers, but it allows the club to delegate efficiently in areas such as recruitment. They have a very modern take on how to run a football club, and we here at Very Biased Opinions think that is going to benefit them greatly. In January, they brought in goalkeeper Laurent Vigoureau and midfielder Osunyanyo Cisse, which brings in League One quality. Centre-back Dan Hath looks like a bright young talent. The playoffs are probably a stretch for the Orient, but they're going to get close to the top half. We've got them just outside it in 13th place. Ian, tell me about 12th.
12th place, we've got Carlisle. They were really poor last season, finished well below what they had done in previous seasons. Like a lot of sides, they made a managerial change which really helped them. Chris Beach came in and made them a lot more steady in the second half of the season. It's his first year in charge. It's going to be very much a rebuild process to try and get them back up towards the playoffs. They have done some good business. They've got some good players coming in like George Tanner, Rod McDonald and Aaron Hayden. And also they might have raised a few eyebrows when they signed Stevenage's goalkeeper, considering how poor Stevenage were last season. But Paul Farnham, as you talked about, was probably one of their best players. So, certainly a very, very good goalkeeper to come in. Joshua Kaode was there from Rotherham. He's signed again, I think, on loan. He'll be a good pick for them because he scored some goals and he's a good player. I think they'll be better, but I can only see them finishing in the mid-table. And we move on to 11th place.
And 11th place is one of me and Ian's favourite teams. It's Newport County. And Michael Flynn is a bona fide Newport County legend. The former Exiles player as manager inspired the miraculous Great Escape of 2016-2017 before 2 years of progress culminated in 2019's narrow playoff final defeat to Tranmere. 2019-2020, though, was the first year of regression under his tutelage and the first major test of the foundation of Flynn and Newport's marriage. A relentlessly direct attacking style in 18-19, the Exiles became a lot more conservative last year. They were tighter defensively, and they tended to nullify their own offense with their defending. None of the current championship managers have been poached from lower league sides, so it looks like Flynn is unlikely to leave, which gives Newport a solid bit of, a foundation to work off. A tough season is afoot for Newport County, so Flynn and the fans must maintain their devotion to one another, even though the elongated 2.5 honeymoon may be over. We've got Newport County in 11th place. Tell me about 10th.
10th place, we've gone for Bradford City, one of the biggest sides in this league that you kind of almost forget about. They seem to have been sort of wasting away down in League Two for a while now. Stuart McCaw is back in the manager's chair, and they were pretty average last season, finishing 9th. So we've got them pretty much in the same position where they were last season. They were good defensively, but they really struggled to score goals. They've trimmed some of the fat out of the squad. It does look a little bit threadbare, so they'll be hoping they can make some signings before the window closes. I just don't see them being decent enough to make a promotion push, although they'll be pretty close. Lee Novak and Clayton Donaldson are very good players at this level, although they're not, maybe their best years are a little bit behind them, and you see they'll need to have good seasons in order for Bradford to have a good season. But we've got them in 10th. 9th place.
And it's the third best club in Liverpool, Tranmere Rovers. Relegated last season. Mickey Mellon's legendary status at Tranmere is untouchable for his work in playing in a managing capacity. He achieved back-to-back promotions to League One, but the Scots' exit for Dundee United is not the worst thing to happen to the club after their controversial relegation. Mellon's assistant, Mike Jackson, promoted to number 1 gig, seems more open to testing young players like newly contracted teenage talent Danny Walker-Rice, and appears to have slightly greater power pulling in the transfer market. Jay Spearing signs to likely become the strongest ball winner in League Two, while Otis Khan, a supremely talented number 10, hopes to put together the first notably stellar campaign of his career. Both were reportedly the subject of League One interest. The selfless Kieran Morris and the speedy Corey Blackett-Taylor represent appealing wide options to support strong frontman James Vaughan, who, despite declining in pace at the age of 32, still runs with the exuberance that saw him become Everton's youngest ever goal scorer. Tranmere are run by sound business people in Mark and Nicola Palios, so the Birkenhead outfit look well placed to right what they see as the wrongs from last year. Me and don't see them being promoted, but we do see them in 9th and having a solid season. In 8th place, we have...
Okay, the side just missing out on the playoffs is Forest Green Rovers. At times last season, they were really good. They actually topped the league at times last season and then just had a miserable run around about January time until the end, which saw them... Go on.
Is that because they're vegan?
Your words, not mine. But they did lose. Maybe they didn't find the proteins, Thomas. Because they ended up losing 7 out of 12 games and really saw them fall into mid-table. Joseph Mills was brilliant for them last season, but he's gone to Northampton, so they're going to struggle without him. But they have made some good signings, some experienced players in Scott Wagstaff, Elliot Whitehouse, Jordan Moore-Taylor and Jameel Matt. But really, I don't think they've addressed where they struggled last season, which was scoring goals, and that's what saw them miss out and drop down the table, and I don't think they've really addressed that so much. So they're missing out again, unfortunately. 8th place for Forest Green.
It's time to talk about the playoff places, and in the last of the playoff places we have Colchester nicking that last playoff spot, Thomas. Obviously, they got in the playoffs last season as well, and they lost to Exeter. But John McGreal has moved on since then, and it is a new manager, Steve Ball, who sits at the helm. They have released a lot of players, and they've only brought one in, although that one is a good one in Tommy Smith. But still, they do have a lot of the key players from last season. Kwame Poku, Callum Harriott representing a lot of the young attacking talent that they have. Eastman and Bramhill will keep them strong at the back. A lot will depend. I think they're sort of making a change away from signing players to bringing through youth players, which you'll see a common theme this year with the lack of fans and salary caps and all that. So a lot will depend on how well they integrate young players in with the experienced ones. But I'm backing them. They did well last season. They've done well for the last couple of years. And I think they'll nick that last playoff spot. And in 6th place... Ian, if you thought I was talking a lot about teams before, get ready for a monologue, because here it comes. Salford City,
comfy, folks.
The class of 92 owned Golden Boys of the Football League. They follow Bolton as second favourites for promotion from League Two, and on the surface, it's easy to see why. Former Preston stalwart Tom Clark joins to bring championship experience to the back next to fellow recruit Jordan Turnbull. He helped Northampton up last year and has also brought in Vlashli Haldika from St. Mirren, I can't pronounce the name, I'm sorry. Athlete Ibu Torai could form a great left-sided partnership with Ashley Hunter, creative star of League One in recent seasons, who will provide sublime deliveries for a rich array of attacking talent. Ian Henderson's goal-scoring exploits for Rochdale make him the third tier's top marksman from the previous decade, and the veteran's poaching technique offers enviable foil for either target man Tom Elliott, or former Man United speedster James Wilson. Please check in on our Man United podcast for an hour-long discussion about James Wilson. Salford's front four can only be effective if the sextet behind them are working towards creating space for them and for the team as a unit, and it's geared towards fashioning a high volume of clear-cut chances. It's hard to say with confidence that will be true for the Greater Manchester outfit, which is why we're a little bit down on them this season. While Salford could contend, as many expect, it's worth remembering that the best attacking individuals alone do not make the best attacking team. So we've got Salford City in 6th.
And kudos for you, Thomas, for getting the word sextet into a video as we move on to the 5th place.
Mansfield Town, they have been the most lavish of League Two spenders in recent seasons, but that has not translated onto the pitch. Graham Coughlin is the latest man looking to lead the big budgeted Stags into League One. The former Bristol Rovers boss, who replaced rookie John Dempster in December, looks a more demanding and imposing figure than his predecessor. Another club with a director of football means I love them, because this is the modern way of running a football club and how it should be done. Mansfield need to get things right in this department, though, as they've had a very disappointing 21st place finish last season, and sure enough, their rear guard shipped 55 goals in 36 games. So recruitment is key for this club. Martin Stetch, a promotion winner with Yeovil and Luton, adds experience between the sticks. While athlete Rollin Manayese, the composed Farrand Rawson, and dynamic wingback Corey O'Keefe bolster the back five, which includes one of League Two's most consistent left-siders and Malvind Baying. Pressing is key to Coughlin's style, which is why Mansfield have added mobility up top in Jamie Reid, 56 goals in 97 non-league games for Torquay, even with a good crop of strikers on place. Massive improvement is needed. They were the biggest letdown last season, but Ian and I have them finishing the season in the playoff places in 5th.
I know, we keep backing Mansfield every single year. One year they're bound to do it.
Fools. We're fools. And in 4th place,
getting that last playoff spot is Cheltenham Town, and they were excellent last season. I expect them to have another good year as well, and narrowly, I think they're going to miss out on automatic promotion once again. Michael Duff is doing a wonderful job there, though. Defensively, they were brilliant last season. I think they conceded the fewest goals in the division. They just need a little bit more firepower, and that's somewhere they're going to maybe come a little bit unstuck with Luke Varney and Ryan Broom both leaving the club, which will hurt them, but they have brought in some good players. Andy Williams is a lot of experience up front, and Liam Serkin, I think he's one of the best signings out of all the clubs. So I think he is an excellent player. He could still easily play League One. Obviously, I think you can gather he's an ex-Oxford player, and he was brilliant when he was at Oxford. So I expect him to do really well at this Cheltenham Town. God, it's like an Oxford United Friends reunited with Charlie Ragnan back there as well. Yeah, good season, but unfortunately it's not automatic promotion. You'll have to do it through the playoffs again. Playoffs for the Robins.
And the first in the automatic promotion spaces is...
In 3rd place, we've got Exeter City. Exeter City obviously got to the final and were battered by Northampton Town. It is that Wembley curse. No, it is that Wembley curse coming back again, but they won't need it. They won't need it again this year, Exeter fans. Well, unless you maybe get to the FA Cup final or something. But you'll deal with that later on down the line. Because you're going to go up automatically. Matt Taylor, done a really good job there. Pretty much like what Cheltenham have done. Matt Taylor's done a really good job. The spine of the side is still there, despite them losing some experienced players, and there is like an effort to bring through more younger talent as well. The spine includes people like Sweeney, Collins, Atangana, and skipper Jake Taylor. They are not as good as a side like Cheltenham at the back, so they might want to tighten that up a little bit. That's probably an area where they need to strengthen. But they do have one of the best strikers in the league in Ryan Bowman. He is an absolute pinnacle front man that will be excellent again, I'm sure, for Exeter this season. And his goals will lead them to promotion. Who's going to be the bridesmaid, Thomas, in 2nd place?
The bridesmaid this season, we think, is going to be Port Vale. Port Vale have quickly gone from being among the EFL's most unstable clubs on and off the field to one of the most stable in all departments. Not only have last year's new owners Kevin and Carol Shanahan saved the Burslem club from potential doom, The Valiants by birth have positively energized it through honesty, community involvement, and shrewd operational decisions. These are the owners me and Ian love. One of those was handing a 3-year deal to tranquil touchliner John Askey, a stickler for calmness and continuity. The former Macclesfield boss played 4-3-3 in each game bar 2 last season, with 29 or more league starts for 7 players. They have a very established team at Port Vale. That septet, that's right, I've done that twice now, includes 2 ever-present players, gifted goalkeeper Scott Brown and powerful centre-back Leon Legg, whose partnership with the aggressive Nathan Smith has seen Vale shoot just 9 goals in 12 encounters against the top 7.
This was an upgrade, Thomas. You said sextet. This is a septet.
Oh my God, I'm running the gamut today. Either side of the defensive duo, winger by trade Christian Montano has adopted admirably to left back, while right back James Gibbons under Askey has resurged to the form that saw him win Young Player of the Year in 17-18. Luke Joyce is a pillar of consistency in a young midfield, and the former Carlisle man's awareness and distribution at the base allows Tom Conlon and Scott Burgess to apply their all-action games. The signing of Theo Robinson, who gave Colchester positive all-round contributions last season without being prolific, was a key addition up top, especially since there are question marks over Mark Cullen's ability to stay fit and Devontae Rodney's chances of replicating an impressive National League campaign with Halifax and Stockport in League Two. Newfound stability suggests Vale could finally find their holy grail with automatic promotion. At the worst, they're in the playoffs, but we've got Port Vale in second. And now, if you can't do the math and you don't know who's in first place, Ian is about to tell you.
The champions of League Two are going to be Bolton Wanderers. Obviously, Bolton Wanderers had a nightmare of a season last season. They were relegated from League One largely down to off-the-field problems, giving them a points deduction, which meant the season never really got started. They started the season with literally like youth team players, and it was a matter of Keith Hill just bringing in any random players he could get really to like form a squad. So it was a patchwork squad last season. It's no wonder they went down. They brought in Barrow manager Ian Evatt, as we've already talked about, so it's a big job for him. But I think he's going to like do well. I think he's an ex-player there, so he knows the club, and he's going to like rise to the pressure. I think most Bolton fans will just be happy they're starting like on an even keel, and they haven't got to worry about the club going out of business. Like, how does Bolton nearly go out of business? Oh. Anyway, but as I talked about, it's been a bit of a revolving door of players coming and going. Players like Remy Matthews, Jason Lowe, Daryl Murphy, all out. But people like Matt Gilks, Nelson Delfonso, Antoni Sarcevic, Alex Baptiste have all proven in the past their quality at this level. And they signed Swindon's key marksman Owen Doyle last season, who got 25 goals, much to my disappointment, for Swindon last season, and he fired them to the title. And I fully expect him to do the job again. I fully expect Bolton to be a class above this season. And as we've predicted it will happen. Bolton will win the league.
I think it's quite nice for Bolton. They're not quite in the Portsmouth, Sunderland area where their fans expect them to be promoted. I think, I'm Bolton fans tell us, but I think you're probably just happy to still have a football club and for the chance to go and compete in this league. And I think if you can maintain that sort of attitude and just take the punches as they come, that this club is going to be too powerful. And if you go broke again, then you can always just hire the 3 youngsters from the park and that old man's dog you put out for most of last season.
Okay, everybody, that is our League Two predictions for the season in the can. Only time will tell how wonderful, how terrible we have done. Although we did do pretty well last season, so I expect us to do probably about 50% this time around.
We aim for 51. That's our aim.
Yes. As always, we do thank anybody that watches our videos. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And also go and check out Grandstand Betters, who are a superb tipster website that we've been working with for the last couple of years. And more importantly, we've got news and important and exciting competition.
That's right. We are doing a Premier League predictions competition. Me and Ian are part of it. Matt, your ranker who runs the Grandstand Betters, is part of it. You get to compete against us for a £400 prize pool. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is log in every week and give your predictions. It's like fantasy football, but we're going to actually guarantee you money. If only 10 of you sign up, someone's going to win it, and it probably won't be us. So please look below, click it, look at our Amazon affiliate links, click it. All the support you gives us mean the world, and all the money we make off this channel, we put back into the channel to make it a better product. And, maybe one day we'll actually give you some detailed football analysis.